Hobby of Cosmology Time is force. I know the five-dimensional cosmology on YouTube around May 2008. Gravity. Other three forces: electromagnetic force, the strong force of the nucleus, weak force, of extremely smaller than, as a method for solving the challenge of physics. It was an extension of the five-dimensional space. Story is not something that can be understood as realized that will be the five-dimensional space. The physics on the challenge was considered to be or will not be explained in some other model was that we consider while creating this page. In fact, the gravity in time is what cannot be explained by current physics. Time was started from be considered to be a system that worked like a wave rather than our concept. Move the particles. Those early moving. When we take pictures with the camera, I set the fast shutter speed. Still subject to represent the time as blur. There, and even if a still image is that the time of the flow is recorded, and without the thickness of the time is that not confirm event. We imagine a landscape that has stopped all movement if that stopped time, however. All of the particles, if there is no energy of time, will disappear. Is space itself depressed in the valley of the stop gravity? That light is light. You also will not be able to also be material to maintain its form. Scientists would like to explain the universe from the image of the macro when considering the gravity and matter of time until the particle microscopic world in one theory. In addition, it does not necessarily also those that constitute the time and gravity are having a magnitude. That I was wondering. Either that light emitted from the light source is suddenly and the speed of light does not think unnatural. If a built-in system that carries the photon in space, I will think this is also possible. Space is happening. Decrease of the time, also the density of the case if gravity is expanding. Reduction of time energy is balanced by a decrease in time operating speed. I will be referred to as nature prefers symmetry. Anti-universe has been imagined for the antimatter universe against anti-gravity substance to it. Therefore gravity also is the case in the laboratory. There are things that can be reproduced, but the existence of the real world has not been confirmed. My thought was symmetry. It is what appears to be heterogeneity of gravity and time, have created a spread of space-time fat, while maintaining the symmetry. Ways of working time energy is like a conveyor belt to carry the elementary particles that are moving at the speed of light. If analogy, photons was riding on top of the belt conveyor, will be the speed of light in the moment rather than accelerated movement. One of the ripples of concentric circles that can be when you threw a pebble on the surface of the water is assumed to be our universe. Wave only. You appear to be moving to vibrate up and down without movement of the water. The same, I think you're going in the universe. In other words, the universe will expand from wave energy, will continue to propagate around while making the substance material that make up the universe expands, while a new one turn over. In other words, I think the space of a material that cannot be seen have been met. From a density of the universe is not a less high be filled with unknown material. No wonder it is likely that there is an unknown space surrounding the universe. Although the current real universe is the universe relevance that is independent, that has already been lost with the Big Bang. What appears to us is the information of the light coming along the surface of the water droplets form. This is observed as shown in the photograph, that is multiple exposure from the past to the present. Causes theoretical contradiction if you do not assume the Big Bang, previous space and the Big Bang cosmology. In addition, the energy of the initial explosion will have been defined to have inflated the universe until today. It has been confirmed to have occurred further accelerated expansion in recent years of observation. and mechanisms that are creating this accelerated expansion is currently unknown. The point of view of description of this drawing, and those with a downward view of a universe from the outside, it indicates a light route reaching the expansion and the Earth of 13.8 billion years. Light will come to Earth along the water droplets form on the surface, continuous time surface. Internal water droplets form will be a route that was part of the past of light. Expansion of the universe, which began from the Big Bang, has been expressed as a figure of up to S1 tilde S7. Current of the universe as the interval of concentric circles is 2 billion years it will be, because it is 7 first 14 billion years. We universe can be observed a portion of the space-time, for example. Please imagine the LP vinyl records. LP record has been filled with a single groove. Therefore, you can see all if you follow the groove. However, since the space-time is like off the hundreds of grooves in the LP vinyl records, it does not allow you to see all then followed a single groove. In space, the number of grooves is space-time, because there are an infinite number. Since space that we have observed is what is present in the continuous time surface leading to the current from the Big Bang, the maximum size that will be age 13.8 billion years of the universe. Our observations, can light have been enlarged as old age? It is all the era of multiple exposure or image information is adjusted to be the same viewing angle. And how can I retain the presence of space without the need for a container system in which the free movement in the gravitational field does not feel the force of gravity? Probably state that freely behaved an energy field of space expansion is I have created a universe that does not require a container space created by the 13.8 billion years ago the Big Bang and the universe that does not require this container is that our universe, because information of space as the container of the universe that existed in the Big Bang before, does not have to reach to us. I think it would not be able to prove its existence by observation. We call the range that can be observed with the space, but the observation cannot be, but it is considered that area as a put of the universe surrounding the real space in this, that seems to be present to ensure exist. That rotational motion makes the gravity, but can be known by experiment. I think the system is also created by the Big Bang that carries the light was assumed to this gravity and contrasting ones. Since space is expanded by the speed of light, appear to photons no mass, separated from materials are diffused by the light speed when viewed from an observer to directly affected by the expansion of the universe. In addition, stars and galaxies desk and chair, I have expansion against the Big Bang of the coordinate system in a state in which it became the mass because it is associated with each other gravity. Expansion rate of a substance inside I will be considered to be the largest in the late vacuum of space. Expansion velocity of ground space interval occurs an expansion rate between them in order not discontinuous. It to say expansion velocity is changing continuously is that to say that the work acceleration, the direction of gravity to produce the acceleration, will be the direction opposite to the direction of expansion. In other words, the acceleration of the expansion is observed as gravity. Given in this way you can explain the reasons and causes of gravity of light speed. 1. The speed of light, according to the special theory of relativity, is constant for any inertial system. 2. According to the general theory of relativity, gravity and acceleration are equivalent. Gravity distorts space and time. Gravity can be found on the distort the time along with the space. But whether this will because you are thinking in the upper than the time the gravity, I think there is a mechanism that creates a time in the area do not know. or time simply be what concepts forge in order to recognize the change of things. What, therefore, I think the photon placed in space is dragged by the expansion of space. Empty space and is thought be optionally did. In fact, this space is filled with vacuum energy. Photons are observed as a sticky, and is the result of light speed pulling the expansion spaces. Particles suspended in the solution. Photon state in which the expanded without mass from considered a natural state along the law of inertia is observed as the speed of light to the same motion as the expansion space. Expansion of the space is considered to have been expanded passes through the atomic lattice of the material. However, the material density is caused acceleration of the expansion space for the expansion rate is different. This acceleration is, I will be considered to be observed as gravity. Important description so far, our observation can light was continuously starting from the Big Bang. It's like the time in written history chronology of ray. Is that image information that has been projected on the celestial sphere is expanded about old age. Photons separated from material in a space that expands at the speed of light seem to spread with, when viewed from the observer due to the influence of the expansion direct light speed. Expansion assuming black hole of what is creating the speed of light is space will that you are swallowing the space that is missing from the space-time is not a continuous space. Expansion of the space is continuous from the interior material to space, however. The speed difference occurs to receive the resistance by the atoms in the material inside. And that at this speed difference that is the acceleration, which is observed as gravity. Actual expansion rate, speed of light. In order to vary in the same way the time-different spatial material inside the vacuum, and the same result when measuring the speed of light, expansion speed, is placed in every place. It is thought that those obtained by differentiating the bending of space is integrated with and is in gravity has a mass of material. If you challenge on physics, say that the speed of light, gravity, mass, time can be explained both by the expansion of space. This looks simple as, but is considered a very and meaningful thing as is said to be simple as best. Speed of light if there is no expansion of the space also cannot exist gravity and time. Our dimension is generally is said to be a four-dimensional space in 3 dimensions plus time. That is the time. I think it is often called as an additional thing, however. The speed of light does not exist gravity also time without expansion of space. In other words, I will be considered a 3-dimensional space. That expansion is a 4-dimensional world. I do not know the dynamic 3-dimensional coordinate space whether mathematically can be defined. But expanding universe is a dynamic 3-dimensional space. In addition, the rate of expansion of the universe. I think that there is no unreasonable prefer to think that the change even then you think to be constant. When you do so, I think it is difficult to mathematically define the increasingly dynamic 3-dimensional space. Einstein never gravity predicted that go transmitted to like a wave. We call it a gravity wave. But the wave was observed. Another prophecy heavy things there when the light passing through the vicinity of it is that says, turned by gravity. However, that photon no mass is considered to bend gravity there is unreasonable. I'm making a bend in space by the slow expansion rate of space, and there is a large material lump. For this reason I believe the light is bent. We are with this universe began from the Big Bang, because it is not able to think about earlier. It's just like that, defines the first melody of Fifth Symphony of Beethoven, destiny, to be a Big Bang. Ourselves cannot even to know about people and instruments are playing, because you stay in the music. You will have to feel like there is a principle of the universe in this relationship. Here. ripples. Given the situation that ripples spread when through 3 pebbles on the surface of the water, is also possible to partially overlap but to enlarge individual ripples, shape remains maintained. It is began ripples in the same era, but even that each partially overlap. You can expand each of origin as concentric circles. After, you can a small ripple in the ripples of Najaka and a pebble and a large ripples. Ripples of expansion time in this ripples can be considered to have started to work from when I threw a pebble and shows the expansion of the universe. The Big Bang Theory, but all has been said to have been created by the Big Bang. Why? Remains whether big question was born out of nothing the universe. I thought that time was born for some reason there in the expansion coordinate system. Cosmology have had endless area filled with mediated propagating ripples. The fact that the standard state in the coordinate system of expansion is what stress there is no state because not moving to coordinate system. This, in stress also no state will be able to escape from the phenomenon that creates expansion. That is, there is no wait-time state. Also considered as never declined, because I do not have the time to be 14 billion years of journey without photons decline. I think that there is a time when energy can exist as a substance in a process that will change the energy along the time axis. World from the Big Bang to the present, it is happening in the time width that is present substance in space. This time outside the Big Bang before and distant future of width, I think we are present cannot space or time definition. The only fundamental principle of the universe, I think that expansion of space. I think that you think about what kind of physical phenomenon has been produced by the expansion of space becomes central theme of cosmology. Energy of the original Big Bang was the plasma state. Plasma is now with the atomic structure, and eventually expansion proceeds. Temperature of the universe is reduced. This plaque of the expansion rate becomes gravity. Substance caused resistance to free expansion of space to have the atomic structure is the universe that has been elapsed. Expansion cooling integrated to 13.8 billion years by this gravity is the figure of the current temperature of the universe when it began to have the atomic structure. Is that to say that 6,000 degrees initial state of the universe was created to very heavy elements to repeat the generation and explosion of a large star, because there was a large amount of star material in a narrow space. It came become a figure of the current universe is a star of material distribution density along with the expansion of space is created you, and many small stars such as the Sun drops. And 13.8 billion years elapsed. The current temperature of the space that has been expansion cooling has become a 2.7 degrees. If you look at the temperature situation of the universe, is that say to have entered a final phase. Time it took to be cooled from the Big Bang to 2.7 degrees was 13.8 billion years. It becomes absolute 0 degrees at 2.7 degrees where you leave decrease of temperature in order to become an absolute 0 degree, because I think that is a hyperbolic. I think that it becomes necessary to time infinity. Will the future begins to melt as energy in substance space given the fact that energy to the Big Bang initial has been accumulated as a substance. Breaking effect of the spatial expansion since and expansion velocity of the space will be slow. Gravity will also be small, due to gravity will also be small. Or is ultimately expansion, that was, slowly will continue forever. Conclusion. Time is force when the structure of the future space is elucidated in preparing thought we as wonder. What described can be obtained. Newtonian mechanics, that formulas of the nature of the attraction is that anyone can understand if people learned. In addition, you can also convince this phenomenon in real life. who Einstein's theory of relativity can be understood to remain formulas I think very few even now. I also was able to get my Inertia understanding of in advancing write a page about the mystery of the no piecemeal things gravity effect and time can understand. Since the era of Einstein there is no concept of expanding universe. You can imagine what the theory of relativity shown in these were ones of how innovative, accelerated expansion of the large-scale structure of the universe that the age of the expanding universe theory cosmic microwave background radiation universe of Edwin Hubble later is 13.8 billion years. This is what has been confirmed by the development of precise observation equipment and massive gravity of these observations achievements folding while spacetime structured light speed for the structure of the universe, which is observed as something expansion and something time. You thought that was able to reach a certain opinion. Time is force but had not found an outlet and hooked to initially you began writing from 2008 Planck time and large numbers hypothesis. I was able to solidify my image by creating a space diagram in January 2010. Speed of light. In this image I had thought that the expansion of space is visualized. In addition, working the acceleration and the expansion of the space can be derived therefrom. This acceleration was noticed, and has become a cause of gravity. These two ideas I was able to assemble the expansion coordinate system cosmology. I turned on the current space science. Is there a technical challenge? But there is no it by interstellar flight and space warp like SF movie is realized. In addition, there is a possibility that a few tens of light years away star is subjected to Earth impact and explosion. But there is no way to avoid it. It is, I think. But that's the conclusion, that it is to cherish the Earth remains, was confirmed scientifically. Thank you for reading to the end.